The way of inner alchemy is the way of energy, and of being able to perceive that energy in the most correct and precise manner possible. For that reason, there are times when I have been asked how inner alchemy sees other techniques, and how they perceive the validity in the symbolism of such techniques. I have been asked, for example, whether inner alchemists consider Kundalini to be a kind of myth. And certainly to them the energy that is tapped into through the practice of Kundalini ascension is certainly not a myth, but you could say that the way this energetic surge, or pool of energy, is symbolized and sometimes even described, is just one possible interpretation of many, at least from the point of view of inner alchemists. And the interpretation of, and the way of reaching this energy, can vary greatly from culture and region to region. In accordance with the seeing of inner alchemy, there is indeed an energetic pool that is available to humanity, but the way this pool is interpreted and reached can vary greatly across cultures and regions. In this particular case, when it comes to Kundalini, in accordance with the yogic system, this energy is described using certain properties, symbolism, characteristics, some of which are usable in accordance with the doing of inner alchemy, while others are not. And might I point out here, that many of the inconsistencies and difference between yoga and alchemy, let us say, are in many ways more the result of academic trifles than the actual experience by true practitioners. In other words, most differences and inconsistencies between certain systems is the result of dogmatic debate between researchers, as opposed to any kind of real inconsistency between actual practitioners of the art. Now, because of the fact that it is so difficult for us to begin certain tasks, especially the difficult road of energy work or inner development, a person should use whatever school of thought or way that suits them best, that resonates the most with their inner feelings. Motivation is a big aspect of getting started and continuing on your journey, and as such we must use all the tricks at our disposal to get started and stay on course. If the yogic traditions appeal to you, then use them. If the way of inner alchemy suits you best, then use that. In order to guarantee success in this difficult beginning, follow the way of your heart and choose the road that resonates with you the most. But as we progress through any system, and we learn to work and perceive energy directly ourselves through such efforts, then we must also learn to go beyond all symbolism and dogma, because such things can be a great limitation in the long run. What I mean by this, is that the ability to use such symbolism and dogma to start, the ability to be able to understand this energy that you are trying to tap into by calling it Kundalini, for example, and by practicing a wonderful set of outlined principles like yoga, is very important in the beginning. This is so because it can give you a framework and motivation at first. But as you the practitioner become an adept, as you learn to find your way through a system and learn to perceive and work with energy directly, you must begin to slowly let go of that symbolism. This is crucial because if you don't, there will be a limit to how far you can go. In time, you must begin to trust your skill and your ability to perceive energy as an individual, or you will be forever stuck within dogmatic limitations. This is the case because such cultural symbolism and interpretation of how you proceed, in the end can be thought of like a kind of structure existing out there. This non-local mental structure gives a framework and stability in the beginning, but if you are not willing to move beyond that structure, then you have hit your limit once you reach the outer edges of it. If you cannot trust yourself and your own individual doing, then this structure goes from being an ally to being a prison. And this prison cannot be overcome by deeper exploration into the dogma of that way of energy work, it cannot be overcome by greater research into every nook and cranny of that structure. Such a prison can only be overcome through direct and individual practice, and the confidence developed through that actual practice. Any good system must insist on the development of your own ability to perceive and work with energy directly. It must provide for a way for you to begin to discover your own energetic truth beyond the system itself. If this is not the case, then that system is incomplete, and it is in many ways designed to trap you within the structure of itself. Certainly the insight from those that have gone before can help, but it must always be taken within the context of what you personally ultimately want to accomplish. This context means that words will never explain true energetic perception because they are not up to the task, and as such this does not mean that such practitioners are wrong, but that the words that must be used sometimes to explain their doings can lead us astray. The only way to overcome the obstacle of the illusion of words is to let go of those words and learn to perceive and do yourself directly. Eventually the practitioner realizes that Kundalini is in some ways a kind of illusion, because it is simply a word. Kundalini is in essence just a word, it is just a term created to try to explain something that exists in a place beyond words, a non-local space. The only thing that really matters is direct knowledge, which comes through direct energetic perception and doing, not through symbolism. This might sound like religious heresy to some, but I must point out nonetheless that there is no energy in Kundalini. Kundalini, in and of itself, is not power, it is not ultimate truth and the only way. It is instead a name for a certain aspect, of one possible road, that leads to a place that then allows the practitioner to access a certain type of incredibly powerful energy base. But there are many roads and many descriptions, and all are valid. A better way to say this, I feel, is that there are no roads and there are no ways, there is only energy, everything else is an illusion. So, from the inner alchemist's point of view, Kundalini represents a release of energy that is always there to some degree within everyone, and that you do not need to practice yoga specifically to release it. There are many ways to get to the same place. Therefore, we have to be very careful in all such descriptions, the words and the symbols that we use to try to explain what we are doing. From the inner alchemist's point of view, which might sound like heresy to many as well, Kundalini is not at the base of the spine, even though in some ways you could say it is. From their point of view, for example, we could say that within every cubic inch of space, there is enough energy to power the planet, and yet who could possibly access such energy, and who could withstand the power of such energy if it were released? Energy for them is anywhere and everywhere, and the only thing that truly directs energy from their point of view is the focus of attention, not a location per se or a mantra. So, while there might be certain nerve groupings within the body and certain inherent energy channels or meridians, the body is not an object, it is not a static thing, it is instead energy, and energy is infinitely malleable. We may all start from a relative base structure, but we have the potential to create anything, whether that anything is the awakening of Kundalini or the creation of the Philosopher's Stone, which is a structure that inner alchemists use to try to tap into that infinite power available in every cubic inch of space. To say that Kundalini energy is real, is true. But to say that such energy is only possible through such practice, let us say, is something that one must be careful about, because dogma has this way of creating division that does not exist in the energetic world. Within every cubic inch of space there is enough energy to power the planet a few times over. Such power could be accessed to some degree through Kundalini work, or through the creation of the Philosopher's Stone. Begin your journey and follow the road that appeals most to those aspects deep within yourself. Play with your own reality, your own psychology, and follow the way that appeals best to your heart. But as you progress down this road, do not be fooled by the words used to describe something much deeper and greater than the words used to describe it. Instead, as you learn to work with energy yourself, let go of that symbolism and all those words and begin to explore your own energetic reality directly. If you do not do this, then you will be bound and constricted by those words and that supposed symbolism that was so helpful to you in the beginning. Instead of exploring the true nature of energy and power itself, which is unbound and non-local, meaning that it is beyond the constrictions of space and time as we understand such things intellectually, you will be stuck within a structure of illusory words. This will mean that the true potential of that energy that you are tapping into, when you release Kundalini for example, will never be truly and fully possible for you. In alchemy, a different form of symbolism is used, but there is certainly a deep relation between what is called Kundalini in yoga and what is called the Philosopher's Stone in alchemy. And there is a connection between both of these and that potential energy to be found in every cubic inch of space. There are two types of symbolism here, two potential roads that you can follow, and each one points to a beginning that may seem very far apart, but as you progress down whatever road appeals most to you, and find the underlying energetic truth of what that road is and what lies at the end of it, you must go beyond terms and symbols, because in dogmatic symbolism, you will only find illusion. You may even fail to realize that all true roads, all good roads, lead to the same energetic truth. If you would like to know more about what I consider to be a very good energetic road, the energetic way of inner alchemy, then I will leave a link to the book, the Magnum opus, in the video description below. It will show you what you will need to do to progress and go deeply down that energetic road. If it appeals to something deep within you, if it appeals to your heart, then use it. And then once you understand and have gone deep enough so that you can work with energy directly yourself, you can then begin to follow your own path, move farther and farther away from that structure, and perhaps even develop your own terms and symbolism. This is the only way that infinity will open up to you.